right. We're a little delayed start here. Skip and I got to talking a little too much. It's all about the espresso this week.
That's right.
Skip is getting me turned on a good coffee. So I gotta start like working on my understanding of beans and all that jazz. But I do have something pretty exciting. You know, I said in the weekly email that I had something fun that I wanted to show. And I know I've hinted at this before, but I really want to highlight what it is that I've been working for and Skip's been working towards, Danish and all this, with like the 4 pillars. And so the advantage is that if you are observing the 4 pillars within your strategic report, that you are going to be able to take advantage of the marketing materials that I'm going to start pushing out to everyone. And it kind of looks like this. So this is the final version of the 4 pillars illustration. And so if you are using a report that looks like, excuse me, this one here, you'll see that we have architecture, service, risk, and strategy. And under here, you have your subcomponents, technology alignment and software alignment. Now, this is just because this is how I built it. The only rule to taking advantage of this new stuff is that you keep these categories the same. You can get rid of the quarterly goals if you want, but keep architecture, service, risk, and strategy as part of your description at the top level. We're going to use this across the board so that everything that you build is consistent. Then when you show your client the difference that you're going to have, you'll use an illustration like this that will show them that, hey, we take a different approach to technology. We have, you know, you can show them that your company's difference, the 4 pillars difference, the sextant difference, whatever you want to call it. You come up with your catchphrase. What you can show them is that what we do in strategy when we bring it to our clients is that we look at the architecture of the firm. We look at how much software, how much hardware they have, and we identify what risks are facing the company, what opportunities they have, where they're going, and what they would like to mitigate. And we apply a certain level of service to the company based upon what they want to do. And so the strategy lens looks through here. So if you've used a sextant before, what's nice about this is like this middle part moves back and forth based upon which stars you want to see. And that's how you navigate to a destination. So you tell your clients that you build the strategy based upon the architecture, service, and risk. And you align all those together to get them to the destination that they want to get to. So it's all about the client. So no matter whether you're doing a QBR or doing an annual, you have a vision that is very clear for your clients. I was just in another meeting today, and they talked about how they don't want it to be too confusing. They want to keep things simple for the clients so they can digest it. And this is what helps us there. It's 4. And with this, the client go, oh, I get it. And so now you've got a measurement of how well are they doing on architecture? How well are they doing on their service model? How well are they doing on their risk behavior? And then are they doing strategic services? And that becomes your quarterly and annual conversation you're having all the time. You might dive into a technology stack assessment. That's architecture. You might dive into a DR report. That's risk. You might dive into a service offering such as managed PCs. That's under service. But your strategic initiatives are your SWOT strategy sessions. They're your project planning sessions. They're anything you do where you're trying to figure out what are you doing with the client. And so QBRs fall under strategy. Annual sessions fall under strategy. And so this all works together to show that there's a visual difference with your company over other MSPs that are just doing break fix. And so this is the big reveal for this week. And I'm hoping that people will post questions so they have them. Skip will answer them if he sees any. But this is what you get in the VEP program if you stay loosely on our guidelines.
Yeah, and now I want to chime in here and talk about why I really like this. So, being more of an ops director, is a lot of my background, and making this move, I understand what we're needing, how we need to be engaged with our clients. I'm definitely all in on our strategic focus, but sometimes I think we need the framework, so that we know we don't necessarily need a steps 1 to 20, but we do need some sort of idea of how we need to measure and organize and structure our engagements. And I think this is a really great tool, because if we go through systematically and make sure that we are addressing all the elements that we need to talk about in these 4 pillars, then we know we're going to be delivering a comprehensive IT management solution to our clients. And that's not just managing their technology, but it's also going to include managing how technology drives and helps their business. So, we're definitely getting both sides of this from a technical and a business perspective, but we're also covering, I think, all the bases that we need to, so that this is a complete holistic approach that will really take care of everything we need to do, again, without creating a long laundry list of check boxes we need to run through. We need to know how to structure our programs to best engage with our clients.
Yeah, and this makes it simple. So whether you're a small MSP or a large MSP, the only thing that changes is the amount of stuff under here. Your view is always the same. Your client expectations are the same. This is something they can digest. Yes, my templated view here is very simple. And I'm thinking like I might add some more meat to this. That's just default meat, so to speak. And that what you want to do is you want to have under each of these sections, you want to have the processes that you can deliver to your client. So for instance, have you done technology stack assessment? Have you done Office 365 assessment? Have you done a risk analysis assessment? Have you, keep on going down these processes that you have. Do you have a managed services alignment session? Have you done these things? So that the client can see like what it is that you offer and how it evolves.
And the great news here is that these lists don't have to be really, really long. I mean, you don't have to have, in a strategy session, if you guys are comfortable with maybe a SWOT analysis or an industry analysis, whatever it works, make that work. You don't have to have 15 different items under the strategy session. You can really, really pick, even if you have just one, start with that, plug it in, it makes the model work, and it gets you up and running in a very short time.
Yeah, so, what I've been telling people this has been my conversation. I've had like 3 or 4 conversations on today, so I just keep reusing the same one. So
That's awful. It's awful.
There's lines everywhere today. So what I've been telling people is, so we have our executive strategy session up here, and that's your 4 pillars. And then I tell people like, look, you want to know where to start? Start with your technology stack assessment and your Office 365 assessment. That is going to cover your architecture pillar. And that's going to sell your services today. Do you want to expand out more stuff? Do a disaster recovery one. Do a risk analysis one, and go down the list. And so what is it that matters to your company, and what pillar does it fit under? Now, in the VEP community, we're going to keep building up templated ones that you can just plug and play in, make them your own still, but understand that when we build something, when we build a new audit or a new report, it's going to observe these 4 pillars. It's going to fall under one of these 4 categories. And we'll make it a recommendation, like this is an architecture one, and we'll put it in the default high-level template, so you can just grab that template and you're ready to go. Now, I do recommend you add in your own flavor to this. So what is it what is the difference? What is the virtual C difference, for instance? I will run a budget strategy session. That is one of the things I offer. I don't have a process here for it quite yet. I have my own process that I follow, but I don't have a templated process for you to follow so much. I have a little course out there that can teach you budget principles and stuff. But if you want an actual report that's going to break down how this works every year, that's not out there yet. But someday maybe it will be. But when somebody comes in and asks virtual C, to audit them or talk about what is the virtual C difference. I'm going to talk about budgeting. I'm going to talk about project planning that we do. I'm going to talk about how I will do fractional CIO services. Now, not every client is going to want to do those, and that's okay. You know, under strategic services, fractional CIO, it's there. Do you need it? No, but it's there. So no one ever is going to be 100% in any one of these pillars because we're all different. It's not a goal of getting to 100%. It's a measure of how much of your services the client is adopting. So now you can show them, like, your goal is to get all your clients in the 75%. And hopefully we'll have dashboards that will show this. They'll show an overall score for all of your clients. So being consistent in delivering a model like this has a lot of benefits. And I can go to detail with them, but understand that if we can all follow a consistent model here, we can start coming up with universal metrics. We can start coming up with shared metrics that we can share as a community, saying, hey, look, on average, clients are doing 75% adoption. On average, across the United States, people are at 35% adoption. And now you can use this to pressure your clients into adopting more. Like, look, of the clients in America that are doing the 4 pillars model, 85% of them are doing managed PCs.
I don't know if there's so much pressure to that, Adam. I've got personal experience in this, and we've begun, you know, with clients going through and having a standardized process to measure and grade them. And their first reaction is always enthusiasm. That they understand that we've got a management tool. The numbers aren't necessarily arbitrary, but they're just what they are. They're a management tool that help us guide and steer our conversation. And every time after we get into the cycle and we've been through it a few times with them, and they really start to see the numbers and how their business is relating to those numbers, it becomes a very, very powerful tool. But here is, without fail, what I think is the funny part about it, but they come to a point where they stop and they ask and they go, so how do I compare to all your other clients? People, there's a competitive nature down within every one of us. And without fail, 100% of the time, anybody that I've walked through one of these, you know, holistic grading processes where we really take a look at the entire infrastructure, the entire environment really, and we come up with some sort of scorecard, they always want to know how well they're scoring against your other clients. And I think that's a valuable, something that I haven't really been able to capitalize on. So I'm really looking forward to this. And again, the overall dashboards and collecting the bigger data set from the VEP community. I'm excited to see what 2020 is going to offer on this, because I think we may have some new and pretty exciting opportunities to talk with our clients about how well they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having a community. I know there's like the I can't call it ConnectWise, right? I have to say something else now.
It's Evolve.
I have to use like the Evolve communities. Like,
yeah, the Evolve community.
There's power in numbers and in having groups of people. When you can like say, hey, look, you know, you're sitting at 60% compliance on our stack. Most of our clients are sitting around 75%. And you can start writing a list of where do you want people to be? How do you want to draw your line with your clients? You can actually start firing clients that drop below 40%, like they're not making you money, they're not a good fit anymore, and that's bad press for you. Now you can make little conversations. So the question is like, why aren't you adopting the 4 pillars? Is there anything you would like to see more in this? And then as we get going as a community, be asking, where can we develop next? So I plan on having a full-on PDF of this thing. I plan on having a generic one for VEP members. And I plan on using this myself and in our community, and to draw a framework and give people an example of what is going on and what is the difference that they can make. So yeah, you got a VCIO program, that's cute. We have a 4 pillars measurable, quantifiable process that we follow that will help take your company to the next level. We operate with a framework. It's kind of like you can have a network guy, or you can have a CCIE. Now, only some people know the difference. But when those of you who do know the difference between a CCIE and just a network guy, it's like, oh, You know, there's an entire, I mean, they're in a league of their own. And so the network guy is great, but the CCIE is one who's going to solve the internet's problems. So when it comes to a VCIO program, you get everybody using the VCIO term out there. But when you can splash up something like this, that you observe the 4 pillars program, that you self-grade, that you're held to a higher standard, now you've differentiated yourself. That's cute that, you know, Al down there has a VCIO program. Well, let me show you what it should look like. And when you go in there and you show him this illustration, you show them this report on how you've graded them and where they're at, then Al over there is going to look like shit, and you're going to look like an awesome MSP that they'll never want to move away from. And the experience that you'll deliver is going to be even greater. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is what we've been missing all of our lives. Why haven't we had this? And for those of you who run companies, there's this moment where like you finally get somebody who actually, like a service provider, like an accountant, a CFO, or a marketing company who finally starts like clicking with you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't believe how bad I had it before. Or you had an employee who was doing okay, and you finally reached that critical moment where you let them go and you hired this new person, and Alice comes in and she just knocks it out of the park. You're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had her 3 years ago. We want to give your clients the same feel. And having like marketing and having this consistent view and this professional feel around your program is where it's going to be. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I wish we had you guys years ago.
You know,
what our clients to say.
One of the biggest challenges that I had when we first started out with VCIO services several years ago, you know, was one, we had to tell people what VCIO meant, right? Because no one knew what that term even meant. But two, explaining what goes into VCIO type services, and not everyone's calling that. You know, we've got, you know, consulting teams, and there's a variety of terms that people are leveraging out there that we're hearing about. And I think most of them are better than VCIO, by the way. But anyway, you know, just being able to explain to your clients the next level of service that you're going to be delivering to them, the additional engagements that you're going to be able to engage with them on, can be kind of a long or a difficult conversation. But having something like this helps you clearly articulate the value and the deliverables that you're going to be bringing to the organization. So again, it's a framework for ops guys like me, but it's also a really good framework for our conversations with our clients and being able to differentiate ourselves from our clients.
Yeah, so it just, I don't know. I like when I saw the first couple illustrations around this, like it was like, oh, yeah, okay, it'll make a great marketing material that I can throw out there. But then as we started thinking it through, as I started showing it to you, as I started showing it to different clients, and so I was just messaging some people in the queue here on who I'd actually showed this to so far. And there's been a couple, like I know Bob's seen it, and I think a couple others have seen it. And I get really excited now because I feel like I've got an illustration that I can walk my clients through. I say, hey, look, I use the strategy lens because I think it was, I don't know if it was you, Skip, or who it was saying like, well, maybe it was Brian. He was like, it's like they all play together. So like, is something in architecture or is it something in strategy? Like, it's all strategy. It's all architecture. It's all service. Like, no, well, this way we show how everything's linked together. As you increase architecture, you increase risk, or you might decrease risk. You don't know. But you have to look at it in the lens of strategy to get there. Same thing with risk or service. You know, do you need to have a client that is 100% got managed logs, that has managed endpoint security and all that stuff if they've only got 2 PCs? Probably not. They're not going to care as much. But when you get to the 100 PCs, now you got to start talking managed endpoints. You got to start managed services and log aggregation, because there's a unique value to that that's going to help them mitigate risk. So I like having this, and someday we'll have a nice little, like this will move here and just maybe do a client score to give a nice little illustration. But for those, for those of you who are new at this, this is where we're going with the community. This is the power of the community. We're working together to develop really awesome things like this, where you don't have to put the thousands of dollars into marketing teams to help generate this material. You're just going to get it so you can show the difference of your program versus everybody else's. And so to that end, that's about all I had for this particular component this week. The other thing I wanted to tell people is, and encourage people is, don't forget you have one-on-one time with Skip and I available as a resource. Now, we are still under 50 clients so far because we're still very new in the program. So the advantage is our schedules are a little bit more open. However, we are growing at a rapid pace. We have a lot of people joining every week into this community. And so our TAM is going to become more contended over the months that are coming up. So make sure you get that time with us. If you have questions, you're like, I don't know how to run this report. I don't know how to customize this. Take advantage of us right now. We have free hours during the week. It isn't a 2 to 3 week lead time. It's like a few days. So if you want to meet like Monday, one of us probably has time. Want to meet Tuesday? One of us probably has time. But reach out to coaching@virtualc.biz and set that time up so that we can go through this. And that way you can take advantage while the community is still small of building an awesome program. People pay lots of money for Skip's time. They just kind of put up with me. But getting time with us is going to help you grow faster. Our Calendlies are always open. And if you send a message to coaching@virtualc.biz and say, hey, I don't understand the 4 pillars. I'm new to this. I don't know where to take this. I don't know how to categorize things. Set up some time. We really want you guys to say awesome things about how this program is doing because we believe in this. This isn't just something we're doing because we need to kill time. We actually believe passionately in changing the way IT is done from being a cost center to a profit center. We want to help you do the same thing within your MSPs. You guys are the cutting edge of VCIO programs. If you're part of this VEP program, you are in the top MSPs working for a change. There are over 20,000 MSPs in North America alone. If you're part of this program, we are the only program. That is it. So if you're here, you're leading the charge. You're first to market on this stuff. Yes, people have done the VCIO program. So technically we're not first to market because VCIO term is already out there. But this is the iteration where we are the professionals. We are the group of MSPs that are going to walk out there and say, that was cute that they had a VCIO program. Let me show you how it's done. You can say that with confidence, with the professional materials that are going to back you up, and with a program that's going to really, really help you generate a lot more revenue. Anything else to add there, Skip?
No, I mean, really the only downside I can see to this is next year we're going to have to endure you drawing this sort of graphic on your whiteboard as opposed to the layers that you've been using. So, everybody's got their burden to bear. I guess we'll just have to.
You'll just have to put up with it. It could be worse. I could be drawing more people.
I don't know if it could be any worse. I don't.
I haven't drawn a female stick figure for you yet, have I?
Oh, no. Are we going to have to censor this?
The difference is they have dresses.
Okay.
Or a pantsuit if you really want to get down to it. And then, according to my daughter, they have to have a ponytail. That just looks like there's blood spurting out of her head.
Yeah, that didn't work out very well. It's Christmas.
My daughter was correcting my illustrations the other day. So they have to have a dress and they have to have a ponytail. I'm like, okay.
Well, forget the corrections. Maybe you can subcontract out to her.
Maybe. She's a better drawer than me. You wouldn't know it, but my dad's an art teacher.
No.
So I'll let everybody go in the last 20 minutes to again, reach out, coaching@virtualc.biz, and I'm hoping to see you throughout this week. And we'll see Skip in about 20 minutes for the operational series.